Hi, I'm Trevor Conkergood from Floriani, and it's my pleasure to create this short video for you about how to create a freestanding lace snowflake with this free design from Floriani, special for all of our friends on the internet. And so to get started, I'll just show you a couple pictures. These are some snowflakes that I created for my Christmas gifts this year, and they'll look great hanging on a tree, or I can attach them to a gift. And so that's one example. And then the smaller size is just perfect to create a set of earrings. And so who wouldn't want to receive a gift like that? So here's some cool little designs from Floriani for you guys. And before I get too much further, I want to say the Mylar that I've used in these designs is completely optional. This is some similar designs. They're not the same design, but these are designs that we created for the RNK Software Club. These were the member designs for December 2019, and there were a series of snowflakes and I guess some other things like some gnomes and whatnot that we created for December. Anyway, what I wanted to say is this is what the design looks like if you don't use any Mylar. It becomes, like basically they're freestanding lace embroidery snowflakes. And so we're going to go ahead and create them, and I'll show you photographs for how I actually included the Mylar, but like I said, that's completely optional. So before I get started with kind of exactly how to stitch them out, I just want to show you how incredibly easy it was to make these designs using the Floriani software. And so what I'm saying by that is, if you have a design, this is actually the design that you'll download, and so you'll notice there's two sizes, right? There's the larger size, which is kind of perfect for creating something for your Christmas tree, and the smaller size is the one that I use to make earrings from, and so I'm sure you'll love both sizes. I just wanted to show you guys, I'm just going to select the actual snowflake, the top color of the design, and hit copy and start a new kind of like empty workspace. And then I'm going to click paste so that essentially I have this could be any embroidery design that you own. You can easily turn your embroidery designs into a freestanding lace design with not much very work, because Floriani has a cool tool for that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll just click on select all items to select kind of everything in my design. And then the tool that I want to show is up here at the top. It's called Auto Lace Background. And when I click on it, it gives me a couple of choices. So I guess first of all, do you want to outline your snowflake? So basically create an outline of the shape of the snowflake. Or do you just want to pick a shape like an oval or a circle or a rectangle or whatever kind of basic shape that you might want to put behind your embroidery? But if you said outline border, now you get to say kind of how far apart, how big will the border be away from your embroidery design. And right now I'm working in inches. Of course, you can easily change the software to metric if you'd prefer to work in metric, but right now I have it set in inches. So in inches, I've got it set for about 2.2 of an inch, which is probably approximately 5 millimeters if you're talking metric. But I guess what I'm trying to say is once you set it to outline border, all you have to really do is say okay, and it's going to go ahead and create pretty much all of the steps that are needed to do a lace embroidery design. So if you were to watch this stitch out right now, you'd see that the first color is sort of like a mesh of open fill embroidery that creates like a netting. And then it puts actually a double border around that. And then your embroidery design will sew on top of that. And so really it becomes a very easy to sew out and very stable design of freestanding embroidery. And it could be any design that you own in your whole collection. Like, for example, I'll just start a new workspace and bring one of my stock designs in there. And if you try to design like this sort of tree, which obviously something like this is not suitable to be a freestanding lace embroidery design with all of these run stitch, cool branches and stuff like that. But if you select this design and you use the same tool, Auto Lace Background, it will create an actual freestanding lace background for your tree. And so it can really be just as easy as that. I just have to kind of give it some time to, there you go, finish all the, I guess, math involved and creating those borders and whatnot. But I mean, it's pretty cool. What if I wanted to, I'll just show you the border if it wasn't like around your design, if you just pick a shape. So you select your design, you use the same tool once again, and this time choose a border. So I'll put an oval around the little heart tree that I've got, and it makes a really beautiful, hang it in your window kind of embroidery ornament, or maybe just give it as a Valentine's gift, that kind of thing. So anyway, it's probably just about done. It takes a minute for it to create the, steps to make these lace designs. But now, the colors obviously are totally optional, because essentially it's just kind of deriving the color of the lace from the first color of your design. But you probably want to take this lace and, make it some kind of another color, like maybe white, or, essentially, it could be any color you want. Pink, doesn't matter. I guess the one thing to take note of is going to be when you're doing freestanding embroidery, you probably want to use a matching bobbin thread color to the top thread color. And that's going to mean that when you turn these earrings over, that they look nice on the back side and the front side. So yeah, match for each color. Like, may have a white bobbin, have a light blue bobbin. In fact, notice that this design has actually got 3 colors. So it sews the mesh, then it stops, you tear off the mylar if you're using it, and then it does the border. You can have the same color for the border as the mesh, or a different color, and then it'll stop, and now you can change your thread one more time for your snowflake. If you want an all-white snowflake, it's not wrong to simply sew them white, white, white. That is really totally optional. So let's look at the photographs. So basically, I started out by just hooping up some Wet and Gone, and I taped a piece of Mylar over top. Now, Mylar is essentially kind of like the stuff they wrap your Hershey's Kisses in, except for its special embroidery Mylar that basically it tears off. So you sew your first color on it, and then before you sew the second color, you just tear it off. It's like a really light metallic tissue paper. How's that? And so you can find it. I pick it up. I picked this blue stuff I got when I was visiting a sewing store. It was something that was on the counter. So I'm sure you'll find some. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. This is like, I've already stitched it, and basically I would be ready to take it off the machine and then go to the sink and dissolve my materials. But let's take it back a little notch here. So once you've stitched your design out, you're going to trim around it and take it to the sink to dissolve it. See what I mean? So I usually save all my excess Wet and Gone because it's a great kind of stiffener. Maybe you've made a lace bowl and you've been using it for years and it's sort of losing its stiffness. You could take your excess Wet and Gone and get it wet, and then kind of make a little paste out of it, or make a little kind of slurry of water, and then use that to paint onto your lace and re-stiffen it. Anyway, maybe that lesson for another day. I'll take some pictures of what I'm talking about, but save your excess Wet and Gone is what I'm saying. Before you wet it, don't forget to look at the backside and trim any threads there are. Clean it all up the best you can. Any sort of tie-ins and tie-offs that were on the back. And the design is, really well digitized, so there's very few of them. But that said, you got to clean it up before you get it wet. And so essentially now I've taken it to the sink. I use the sink water myself. Hot water from the sink. I just run a couple inches of water in the sink, turn the water off, and with the lace, I just want to basically put it in the water for a few moments and then pull it back out, because the longer you leave it in the water, kind of the more of the lace, the more of the Wet and Gone dissolves. And what you really want, because the Wet and Gone kind of becomes almost like a stiffener, so it's in the water for 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds and out. And you'll have a nice, firm lace snowflake that will always hold its shape, is the idea. When we make lace that we really want to make it soft, then we rinse it, maybe even more than one time. Okay, but again, that for another day. So here I am saying, look, if you want to make a bunch of snowflake earrings for your friends, you can put up a bigger hoop and then hoop it all up and do them. So basically what I did in this case was I took the small snowflake and I copied it, and I start a new workspace, and I paste it down, and then I say, well, let's put my embroidery hoop on my screen, and I got a big hoop. So if that's your hoop, and you can, of course, choose from whatever brand of machine you own, whatever hoop size that you want to sew into. But whatever hoop you select, then you decide how to fill it with snowflakes. And so if I kind of put it up here and said, well, I bet I could get 3 across and 4 down, you come to this little tool. It's like a repeat design tool kind of thing. And so I figured I could get 3 across and 4 down. Maybe I want to put a little space in between them. So I'll just use like this little slider to kind of like open that up a little bit, if you will, so that there's just at least a little bit of space in between them. And then say, okay, oh, by the way, there's a little checkbox here that says auto resequence by color. And that's awesome, because instead of having to do 1, 2, 3 for each snowflake, this will automatically reorganize it so that it'll do all of the first color and then all of the second color. Boy, I probably could have gotten 4 by 4 in this hoop. See what I'm saying? So maybe at this point you're like, well, that's enough. I'll just sort of center it in my hoop and then save it to a USB stick. So I would go File and Save As, and I can choose from any number of different formats. So in fact, these are all the designs that we created for the member exclusive designs for RNK Software Club. But okay, so anyway, coming back to the photographs, what I'm saying is I took those designs and stitched them all off into one hoop. There's like 12 earrings all in one embroidery hoop. And once it does color 1, that's what I'm showing you there, I remove the Mylar and then sew color 2 and color 3, and ta-da, you've created a whole set of cute little earrings. This is the snowflake. This is the same idea for the Christmas tree. They're a little bit bigger, so instead of getting 12 in the hoop, I got 6 in the hoop. Exact same concept. Basically, you remove all that little Mylar, sew color 2, sew color 3. Pretty easy to do. And then, like I said, at the end of it, when you're done, you're going to basically trim all the excess and get it wet. And you can see I was making a lot of earrings. In fact, I decorated my entire table with them. I made so many lace snowflakes one weekend. It was a ton of fun. And look at all my cool lace snowflakes that I did. And that's why we created the bonus design for you guys, because we thought everybody would love to see this, not just our actual software owners, but so there's some pretty cool snowflakes hanging in a tree. One of the RNK educators, Shanae, took the snowflake and made a snowman out of it. I mean, how creative is that? I just loved when I saw this photograph on her social media when there's like the same snowflake and she resized it to make it look like a snowman, and she put a face on it and even put an initial in there and put a hat on him. I mean, how cool is that? And so I called her up. I'm like, Shanae, where'd you get the hat? She's like I just made it, Trevor, with the software. Basically take a new workspace and then open up that design. So let me see if I can find the, it was from December 2019. So these are all of the monthly designs that come with the club. And essentially what we're saying is Shanae brought in the snowflake, the big one. And she said, well, I want to make a hat around it. And she probably had a picture of a hat or an idea of a hat. But she literally took a pencil, like a drawing tool, and created the shape of the hat kind of with this as the, not to cover the snowflake, but using the snowflake for a size. She's saying, how big should the hat be? Well, I'll just use the picture of the snowflake as my kind of inspiration. And she essentially did something like that. She drew the shape of a hat. Oh, I guess that must be in white because I can't see it. So let's turn it into a color. And then you've got the shape of a hat. And it's the tools down here. So instead of when you don't have a design to create your lace from, if you wanted to create lace from something you drew, you use the tool down at the bottom. It's called Auto Lace. And again, ta-da, it's essentially created a lace design of the hat. So now obviously you wouldn't sew it in red. I probably should have chose black as the color because that is the color that Shanae made her hat. In fact, it'll separate the lace into 3 colors, but that's 3 color stops. If you want to sew black and black and black, that makes total sense, right? But you want the machine to stop in between just to give you the option. And so you get to choose, I guess, how you do it. But that's kind of what Shanae did to make her hat. She didn't sew it over top of the snowflake. She made a hat that fit over top of the snowflake. And if you notice, she put a little holly on it. Well, that was from a design that comes with the Floriani Total Quilter software. So she kind of took like a little piece from one of her other designs and made basically a little hat band. So essentially at this point, she has to take probably a rectangle tool and do like a rectangle to make the little hat band, and then make, that was actually a piece of red, fill kind of thing like that went over top to make her little hat band. And then she put her little holly on top, And it's pretty much as easy as that to create your own freestanding lace designs, you guys. So anyway, thanks for the inspiration to Floriani for your cool software, and to Shanae for the snowman and her hat that she designed for her snowman. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the lace snowflakes. I think they're a cool design, and I hope you enjoyed today's recording. So thanks very much for listening. Have a wonderful day, and bye for now.